Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming. Unlike some other pieces, I will be talking in between the parts of it. There's a piano suite that I'm presenting for you. Each piece, it's a three-piece of work. Each piece is dedicated to either a friend or an acquaintance of mine. And so this first piece is dedicated to Yura Nazarenko, who is no longer alive. These are the words of his wife, which she asked me to, translate and tell you. Yura and I got married when my down happened. I knew then that he was a patriot and loved his country. When he proposed me, he said, "I will give my life for you," and I never doubted it. On the eve of the full-scale invasion, Yura said he would fight if the war breaks out. And then, when he had joined the army, I was well aware where he was going. Yet I couldn't even imagine anything bad happening to him because our love for each other was so pure and beautiful. I was sure our story couldn't just cease to exist. Yura was my first love and my first husband. Our 8 years together were as if living in a fairy tale. So for me to hear from the authorities first that he had gone missing, and then from his comrades that a Russian sniper had shot him in the temple, was completely devastating. I still do not understand how I didn't lose my mind that day. It felt as if I was falling into the abyss, seeking to reach its bottom and crush into pieces, but I couldn't because there was no bottom. Our son Ostap remembers his father. He smiles when he sees him on videos or photos. He remembers the toys that Yura gave him. I hate Russians for destroying our happiness and for taking the life of my beloved one. I will make sure our son knows the history of our country, our family, and feels anger and total disgust towards the invaders. This piece is entitled, "One Day They Will Be Dancing." next piece is dedicated to a friend of mine, kind of famous actor in Ukraine who took up arms right at the start of the invasion. His name is Pavlo Oldoshin. With his permission, I translated for you his Facebook post. It was around the end of the second year, so sometime in, I think, December or January, he posted this on Facebook. I cried for a long time after watching a video of a black guy improvising on piano with so much ease, as if his own lightness of being was making the music. I think it must be like that sometimes. Like when you feel pity for yourself, and that pity is somehow connected to the feeling of responsibility for what kind of shit you got yourself into, and how come you are in it day in, day out. The second year is almost over, and there will be the third, and if you're lucky, you might even see it. Yet, for already 2 years, I haven't written a song or played a part in a theater. The realization of how far I have fallen behind in my professional craft compared to my colleagues weighs upon my mind like the worst nightmare. These innermost feelings are far harder to endure than the adrenaline bathhouses on the battlefield. And that is why I'm crying. I thank God that I'm alive, and I cry again, because it gets harder and harder to overcome the bottomless pit of reality. I am an actor, or what's that word? A musician. This piece is entitled Cranes. The last piece is a dedication to a very close friend of mine. Pablo is also a close friend to whom this piece was dedicated. His name is Sevalot. It is impressive. His example is very impressive for, I guess, everybody in Ukraine. He is a very rich person. He was part of the Forbes, whatever, 30 in Ukraine. And he could have left Ukraine anytime and live happily anywhere in the world. And he has a lot of kids, so he even legally doesn't have to fight, but he does. And he does a lot for Ukraine. And this piece, this is what he asked me to share with you. What do we lose in this war? Not only people, territories, or homes, we lose time. We had plans, wanted to build, create, and to bring up our kids. The enemy came and destroyed those peaceful plans. We had to start fighting for freedom and for the future of our nation. I have 4 kids, but I can't spend the time with them. I can't enjoy those small everyday things with kids. And this time will never come back, and the kids will never become small again. This is what makes me suffer the most. This last piece is called Air Kisses.